Have you ever had cravings of ice cream, chocolate, popcorn, french fries, or anything sweet, sour, bitter when you're feeling down? Or for the times when you don't feel hungry but still feel like eating? Or perhaps when you feel stressed? Does eating food bring you comfort? Does it feel safe? Does it feel like a friend? If you've got all of this checked, then you're stress eating. Stress eating, also known as emotional eating, is using food as your coping mechanism when you're feeling stressed or any strong emotions. It doesn't necessarily have to be a negative emotion. It could be positive too. For example, when you're feeling happy and you want to reward yourself by eating food. So, you open up the fridge, find the food you're looking for, and eat it until you can't anymore. It's going to feel awesome at first, but it disappears soon after. It's like you're living in the moment. The feeling is only temporary. Supposedly, to eat was to satiate our hunger, our physical hunger, to give the body what it needs to survive. On the other hand, stress eating is quenching the emotional hunger. It occurs so suddenly that it will engulf your mind to search for that craving. And this can happen anywhere, at any time, in any situation. Emotional hunger usually seeks for a specific thing. It could be marshmallows, pizza, lechon, mango, and so many more. However, it doesn't just stop at one serving. Once you finish it, you actually starve for more. You're not satisfied with it until you feel like you can't eat anymore. Eventually, it could lead to mindless eating. You won't realize you've ate like 5 bags of chips until later on. But where does this craving come from? Unfortunately, it's not from your stomach. It's your mind whispering those words telling you to eat this and that. You're focused on specific smells, texture, or even tastes. This can lead to feeling guilty, ashamed, or even regrets because you know you're eating, not for the sake of giving your body what it needs, but for emotional or stress problems. If this is done regularly, then this must be stopped at once. If you don't stop this bad habit, it may lead to troublesome consequences in the future. It can lead to weight-related problems like obesity, diabetes, high blood pressure, and even fatigue. Not only that, it could possibly lower your self-esteem and have nausea. To prevent this from happening, we must first figure out our triggers that result in stress eating. Do we eat because we're stuffing emotions to temporarily silence it? Do we eat because of boredom or feelings of emptiness? Is it because of childhood habits like nostalgia, when your parents usually give you food for reward? Is it because of social influences, when you're surrounded by your friends eating and you feel obliged to do the same? Or maybe it's just stress. Once we've identified it, we can control it. Next, we need to find other methods to deal with our emotional stress. If you're feeling negative, call someone to be by your side and listen to you. If you're stressed, take a break by doing exercises or sports like dancing, basketball, swimming, or even just a short walk. If you're bored, watch a show on Netflix or a movie, read books, listen to music, or chat with your friends. Or better yet, we could practice mindful eating. As the name says, it is being mindful of what we eat. By doing so, we practice fostering awareness of our eating patterns and to pause between our actions and triggers. Usually, the craving comes unexpectedly and it's going to be overwhelming, overpowering, that you will feel compelled to address it. It needs to be taken care of. So what do we do? To start off, once your craving appears, give yourself 5 minutes before giving in. But since you just started, you can start slow with 1 or 2 minutes. Don't persistently remind yourself that it's a must that you ignore. The more you do that, the more tempting it is. Once you've accomplished that, check with yourself. If the craving disappeared or if it doesn't feel so urgent anymore, ask yourself why you've done that and why you've been able to fulfill your task. Motivate yourself to keep up with this practice so that you can get rid of this bad habit. Repeat it once another urge hits up. Stress eating is eating food not to satisfy the pang in our stomach, but to eat for comfort. If kept up, it brings about negative effects to the body and mind that we really don't want to take on. By identifying our eating triggers and finding other coping mechanisms, we are able to stop this bad habit. Visit helpguide.org for more information. To end this, I just want all of you to know that all of you, everyone, including non-emotional eaters, need to realize that stress or emotional eating doesn't solve our emotional issues. It's just distracting us from the pain and giving us an escape route to avoid dealing it. Eat food to fuel your body, not to feed your emotions. Let's eat healthy and properly. Thank you and Magic's Morning.
According to Edward Teller, the science of today is the technology of tomorrow. A good day to you all newly graduates in the field of biomedical sciences. Now before I start, I want you all to close your eyes and imagine. Imagine living in a world where almost all incurable diseases, such as AIDS, Alzheimer's disease, Parkinson's disease, heart diseases, and name it all you want, are now curable. Now this is possible through the promise of stem cell therapy. So what are stem cells, by the way? Stem cells are our very own cells. According to Murnaghan 2018, stem cells also allow us to learn more about the early human development and how diseases develop from them. Let's take for example the Alzheimer's disease. In an Alzheimer's disease, a researcher can use stem cell as a tool to see how cells go wrong in that kind. I want you to think of it this way. Alzheimer's disease as of now is an incurable disease. If ever we can learn more about it and know more about its causes and its effects and eventually a cure for it, then this would give a very big change to the people who experience this kind of disease, especially to the family and relatives of that person. Stem cells are also often used to heal from within. What do I mean by this? What makes stem cells very astounding is that they can replace old and damaged tissues in your body. This is called regenerative medicine. Let's take for example leukemia. According to Chua in 2017, leukemia is a cancer of blood cells. Specifically, it is the cancer of white blood cells. Now what happens in leukemia, according to the University of Utah, the patient's bone marrow stem cells are replaced from a healthy and a matching donor. These stem cells will migrate into the patient's bone marrow and begin producing new leukocytes to replace the old and abnormal cells. I want you to imagine this in this way. The person who once was experiencing leukemia is now cancer-free. How do you think would he react to this? And most especially, how do you think would his family react to this? That is how I want you to see the importance of stem cell therapy in today's modern world. While stem cells are often linked to the human body, stem cells also hold a very important role in drug development. According to Cressy 2012, stem cells are often used to see the toxicity of drugs. Drug companies expect to shorten the time it takes to develop new drugs in the near future. So as you can see, stem cell technology is very valuable in our time today. I personally believe that it will change the future of medicine because it allows one to learn more about the early human development, it is used for regenerative medicine, and its usefulness in drug development. Due to its promising abilities, it is a must that you must invest more in it. Thank you.
Let's talk about school. Now, we'd always start with questions like, how's school? How's studying? How's your grades? And as students, our normal response would be, nah, not again, boring. It's dramatic, tiring, and so on and so forth. We always tend to think negatively about school, about studying, about courses, about math, and especially about science. Now, in every science class, many of us get too tired to think, to understand the reason behind freezing of water when in fact it just became ice. We would think, how does J.J. Thomson had that time in the world to discover and study about electrons while using cathode rays, to explain that while we are sitting in chair, we're not really touching it, but we're hovering ever so slightly above it. Thomson was strongly in favor of doing research out of sheer curiosity to arrive at a deeper understanding of the world, and now look. Because of this, it caused a revolution in science and paved way to technologies that would have not been possible to date. You do not mess with something so fundamental, so precious as science, says Kirsty Duncan, Canada's first Minister of Science, in her inspiring TED Talk. She discussed about pushing boundaries. She said that the researchers must be free to prove lies and to support truths, to challenge the thinking of the day, and that we all have duty to speak up when we see science being suppressed. This is the main purpose of research: to inform action, to prove a theory, and contribute to developing knowledge in a field or study. It is a tool for building knowledge and for facilitating learning. It's a way to understand various issues and increase public awareness. Research is not just a subject, it's not merely a paper, but it is an instrument that we can bring until we go to universities and have careers and be able to help our country and the world. In certain topics about professions, whenever my relatives ask me what do I want to be when I grow up, I answer them of what I want to do than what I want to be. As today's generation of the youth, we should not limit ourselves with labels of what we want to be with a specific mindset of what they do. But like Kirsty and Duncan, JJ Thompson, we must push boundaries to explore, to contribute to the sustainable development not just in our country but to the world through research and innovation. Thank you.
I've always believed in a quote by Buddha saying, "Every human being is an author of his own health or disease." My fellow high school students, there are many reasons why we expose ourselves too much on our gadgets. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Rules of Survival, League of Legends, research, and other course projects are just some of the reasons why we use our gadgets too much. However, the more we expose ourselves to the radiation from our gadgets, the more we expose ourselves to its threats on our health. May it be for educational purposes or for entertainment, is it truly beneficial and worth it? Should we remain blind to its negative effects on our health? In today's generation, electronic devices are taking over our lives to the point that people are getting more and more into the use of gadgets where they forget how to manage it well. According to the Common Sense Census, media used by tweens and teens, 64% of the teens interviewed has their own cell phones and they use it on a daily basis on an average time of 9 hours. This is just for entertainment. What more if they use it for educational purposes? According to Defender Shield, all electronic devices, including smartphones, tablets, laptops, emit radio frequency electromagnetic field radiation, also known as RF EMF. It is an invisible form of energy that can cause damaging health effects when left uncontrolled. Too much absorption of this kind of radiation can also affect the people's brain activity, especially when they are still in developing stage. According to Pedersen, a study has found out that RF EMF can affect the people's memory performance, especially when phone is held near their head. Something done moderately is not bad, but something done excessively can be poisonous. Using our gadgets is not bad as long as we know how to manage it well. Although sometimes we think that these consequences may not happen to us, but I've always believed that prevention is better than cure, especially that our actions can make us suffer from the consequences and make us regret why we did that action. As early as today, we should know how to be responsible in using our electronic devices and avoid doing things that can potentially harm us.